Okay, coming to this problem, it's h of x is given to be g of f of x. H of x is equal to g of, what is f of x? X mod x. So g of x is sin x. So it is nothing but sin of x mod x. We don't like this mod. So to get rid of mod, we use the definition. So this is nothing but sin x square when x is greater than or equal to 0 and minus sin x square when x is less than 0. Now he is talking about differentiability at 0. So after, yeah, I'm going for the derivative. H dash of x is equal to sin x square. Derivative is sin x derivative cos x, and then this x square derivative is 2x. That is when x is greater than or equal to 0. And similarly it is minus 2x into cos x square when x is less than 0. Okay, we know that we don't get the derivative on the closed interval, but we get only on the open interval. Now I observe that h dash of 0 plus is 0 and h dash of 0 minus is also 0. Therefore h is differentiable at 0. And also you can see that this is a continuous function. Therefore h dash is continuous at x is equal to 0. Therefore options A and B are ruled out. Now let us see whether the function is differentiable. H dash is differentiable at 0. For that I am taking one more derivative of it. I get h double dash of x is equal to, applying UV rule here, I have it as 2 cos x square and cos x derivative minus sin x square derivative 2x together with one more 2x, I'll get 2x whole square. This is for x greater than 0. And for x less than 0 I get minus 2 cos x square plus 2x whole square into sin x square I'll get. And now I want you to observe that h double dash of 0 plus is 2 from this and h double dash of 0 minus is minus 2 from this. Therefore left derivative is not equal to right derivative and therefore h dash is not differentiable. Therefore option D is ruled out. Option C is the answer. So in this problem we want the tangent to be parallel to x-axis, means slope of the tangent must be 0. Let's first go for slope of the tangent, dy by dx. Dy by dt is equal to, this is 3 by 2, y is 3 by 2 sine 2t I can write. Therefore the derivative will be 3 cos 2t and dx by dt is equal to, UV rule I apply, e power t cos t plus e power t into sin t. Therefore dy by dx is equal to 3 cos 2t by e power t into cos t plus sin t. In the numerator writing cos 2t as cos square t minus sin square t, I can cancel cos t plus sin t both in the numerator and denominator, and I will be having it as 3 by e power t into cos t minus sin t. Now you can see that among the options, option C is the only option for which this becomes 0. Therefore that is the answer. See, this is a simple physics problem. We have a point O here. We have one ship sailing like this, say, and one ship sailing this side. Now, such that between them always an angle of 120 degrees is there. Now, if I assume that the distance from O to the ship as x, he gave that dx by dt is equal to 20 kmph. And this side, if I assume that the distance from O to the ship as y, then he gave dy by dt is equal to 30. Of course, these are the rates at which the ships are sailing when the ship A is at a distance of 8 kilometers from O and ship B is at a distance of 6 kilometers from O. Now, let me assume the distance between A and B between the ships at any moment to be z. So, I have z square is equal to, using cosine rule in the triangle, I have z square is equal to x square plus y square minus 2xy into cos 120, which is minus 1 by 2. So I am having it as z square equal to x square plus y square plus xy. So z square will be, when x is 8 and y is 6, I'll have it as 8 square plus 6 square plus 8 into 6. That is, simplifying, I'll have it as 148. That means z will be 2 root 37. You can see that in the problem he is asking for dz by dt. So differentiating this with respect to t, I have 2z into dz by dt is equal to 2x into dx by dt plus 2y into dy by dt plus x into dy by dt plus y into dx by dt. Now you know every value. You have z value, you have x value, x is 8, dx by dt is there, y is 6, dy by dt is there. So substituting all those values, you get what you want, that is dz by dt. I leave it there. See, in this problem, we have a sphere of radius root 3. I want you to observe that we can inscribe infinitely many cylinders in this. This is one way of inscribing a cylinder in this. Like that, this is one more cylinder that I am inscribing in this. So, when I can inscribe infinitely many cylinders in the sphere, among them I want the cylinder having maximum volume. Okay, so let's go for that. You see, here I have a sphere of radius 3. Now I am looking for inscribing a cylinder having maximum volume. So if I assume that h is the height of the cylinder and r as the radius of the cylinder, we know that volume is nothing but pi r square h. Now, as the cylinder keeps on changing, observe that both radius changes and height changes. So we have two varying quantities, but we know that we would like to have only single varying quantity. So what I do, you see, this is root 3. Now, if I take this one, observe that this is r, this is r. And now by symmetry, this length is h by 2. So I observe that using Pythagoras theorem there, I have 3 is equal to h square by 4 plus r square. Using that relation here, I have pi h into r square is nothing but 3 minus h square by 4. And now you know what we do to maximize this one. Differentiate with respect to h. I have dv by dh is equal to, you do the way you like. I'm multiplying and then writing the derivative. I have 3 pi minus 3 pi h square by 4 I have. Now equating this to 0, I am getting h is equal to 2. So using h is equal to 2 over here, I have r square is equal to 3 minus 1, that is 2 I am getting. Therefore, using these values of r and h in the formula over here, I have volume is equal to pi r square h. I am getting 4 pi. Now, you know, to show that it is maximum, I have to go for the second derivative. So if I go for second derivative, I have it as minus 3 pi h by 2, which is obviously less than 0. Therefore, I can say that this is the maximum value of the cylinder that's possible to inscribe in the sphere. Okay, let's move on to next problem. We have seen problems of this type in the intermediate textbook itself. Kind of reduction formula here. You see, I apply by parts. So I have it as treating 1 as one function. It's u integral v minus integral of, limits are from 1 to e. It's a derivative into whatever we got. So its derivative is n into log x whole power n minus 1 into 1 by x into, here we got x dx. So it's going to be, substituting upper limit, it is e, substituting lower limit, it is 0, minus, this is integral 1 to e, n writing outside, it is nothing but log x whole power n minus 1 dx. So it is nothing but Pn is equal to e minus n times Pn minus 1. Now observe that in the relation that we have to calculate, we have 10 and 8 are there. So taking n equal to 10 in this relation, I have P10 is equal to e minus 10 into P9 and P9 is equal to e minus 9 into P8 I get. Now we use this value of P9 in here. So I get P10 is equal to e minus 10 into P9 is e minus 9 times P8. So what am I getting from this? Minus 9e plus 90 times P8 I am getting. So from this you have your answer.